when you identify that one thing, make sure that you're not allowing like other people's success or what other people have or what you hope to have necessarily define what you think you need to be doing.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire, and I share hope. Somebody that I love who's doing some amazing things in the mobile space is Greg Hickman of greghickman.me. So he'd be a great person to have on the show.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Man, I've got a ukulele almost just like yours in the background.
Really?
Yeah, I wish I had it up here with me. I almost put it on the background of mine just to start throwing some things back there, but that's really cool. In fact, I've got the little...
It looks like you're in an attic.
And man, I've got 5 kids, and they just got home from school, and this has turned out to be the best place for me to do any recording. No matter what happens downstairs or in the rest of the house, I can't hear it.
Nice. Oh, I'm just turning off a bunch of other potential noise making.
Oh, you're good. So the uke in the background, are you much of a player?
No, I'm not a player at all. Actually, I spoke at Tropical Think Tank, which is Chris Ducker's event, and they gave all the speakers a little gift that has our name on it. It's pretty cool. It's
Oh, that is sweet. I love it. Oh, man, I've got one that's got the same headstock. It's a little one like that, and it's got that electric guitar headstock. And I picked it out for that reason. It's really cool. In fact, I've got Jake Shumaruko, I think is how you say his last name. He's the you've seen that guy on TED Talk? Unbelievable ukulele guy.
No, I haven't seen him.
Oh, you got to Google Jake ukulele, and you'll see a TED Talk.
All right.
It's him playing. He's playing Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody on a uke. He's unbelievable. He's signed mine.
Sweet. I'll definitely check it out.
Well, you ready to rock and roll with this thing?
Yeah, I'm just writing down 1 or 2 more notes from your...
You take your time.
...thing here. I had a thought here. Cool.
Takes time.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Nice lighting. You did good. Good short notice.
Well, the blinds were closed and everything. I had to turn off.
Let some light in. I know. All right. Well, today I have Greg Hickman with me. He's a mobile marketing consultant. This is Greg Hickman again with me today. He's a mobile marketing consultant, an entrepreneur, podcast host, so many things. He has done marketing programs for the New York Jets, I see, Florida Marlins, other pro teams, celebrities, 300 shopping centers, and craziest thing of all, I was interviewing and talking to John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire the other day and asked him, who would you like to hear from? If I was going to ask the same questions from anybody, who'd it be? He said, Greg Hickman. You're right up there with the lead singer for the Eagles, I think, also. And
there you go.
Today I'm on a webinar with Tim Page, and he was doing a webinar for lead pages, and he's going through his little example. He said, let me put a name in here. Let's think. Let's do Greg Hickman. Like, wow. I got to know more about this guy. So, Greg, thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Tell me more about yourself. Who are you, and why are these people mentioning your name all of a sudden?
Oh, they're just good friends. So yeah, no, you kind of covered a little bit, but yeah, no, I've been blogging and podcasting for the last 2.5 years, and through that has opened a ton of doors to speak at a lot of amazing conferences and meet people like John and become friends with John and Tim. So yeah, we always end up kind of going back and forth a little bit. But yeah, I live in Denver, Colorado with my wife and dog. Just recently got married 2 months ago from today, and yeah, I mean, just really focused on helping businesses engage their customers with mobile marketing.
I'm curious about that because if I read correctly on your website and a few other things I've seen, you quit your job, got engaged to be married, and bought a house last year.
Sold my house.
Sold your house, sorry.
Yeah.
all this at the same time and decided to do something new. And here you are. And obviously you seem to be paying the light bills.
Yeah.
And a lot more than that, I'm sure.
I was able to turn the light on. Actually today, as of the recording of this, December 4th, 2014, this is officially 1 year to the day that was my first day working full-time for myself.
Nice.
The end of 2013, kind of in a 3-month span between September and November, like you said, I got engaged first, then I sold my house, and then gave my notice at my job, and I gave him like a month's notice, and that's it was a busy end of the year last year.
Sounds like it. Well, here's how this works. We ask all of our guests the same 5 questions about hope. The point of all this is just to make hope more approachable for people who are working on getting enough hope to do something to change their life. It may be a weight loss program, getting out of a bad addiction behavior pattern, a relationship that may need to be shaken up a little bit, a job, whatever it may be. So first off, what is your definition of hope, or the best quote about hope that you've got?
Yeah, so my favorite quote is actually, it comes from a Maya Angelou poem. So it's like a stanza of her poem, but it's actually, it's part of it's tattooed on my arm, and it's one that I always really, really love. And it goes the stanza says, like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope's springing high, still I rise. And that, I look at my arm all the time. I look at that quote all the time, and it's really been really, really helpful for me. I also read this poem. My mom went through breast cancer. She's fine and everything years and years ago, and I read this poem to her, and kind of, just it really highlights the fact that I think that there's going to be these ups and downs, and really just like everything else, you're going to kind of bounce back, and just like the moon falls and the sun rises, just like the tides, there's low tide, high tide. It's always consistent. They're always up and down. You're going to bounce back. And it's the exact same thing with hope. Like sometimes you feel like you don't have any hope, and then sometimes you're completely hopeful, and, you can ride that, to the end, but it's always up and down. And when I'm down, I just tell myself that, I know I'm going to bounce back. And
man, that's great. She's a great author.
Yes.
Phenomenal. My wife got to go hear her speak recently here in Memphis, and man, it's just really powerful, it sounds like. All right, so question number 2. Who has been the most influential in your life for hope? Who's delivered that hope to you that you need on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, I'm going to have to go with my wife. In that last year, and we've been together for now over 4 years.
Yeah.
And, when I was getting close to getting ready to leave my job, I was super scared, concerned with where income was going to be coming from. I was making money. I had put things in place to feel more comfortable, but, there's always that uncertainty, which, is something I had never really kind of had to deal with on a daily basis, because I had the security of a full-time job. And, she was always just very, very supportive. And, I think without her, I definitely probably would have very likely still been at my full-time job. And even recently, this year has been what I've learned as an entrepreneur is the most emotional thing. I was just telling my friend, I was just telling a good friend of mine who's interested in leaving her job, and she's like, I want to go start working for myself. Is it I feel like it's going to be so much less stressful. And I was like, less stressful? I'm like, I can't guarantee it's going to be less stressful. I'm like, I think, I made a comment that I think entrepreneurship for me has been the most emotional roller coaster this year that I've ever experienced. And she's like, even more than a relationship? And I said, yes, way more, for me personally, way more than a relationship. So yeah, but Sarah has always been kind of there to kind of push me and challenge me. And I think, as we get further into this, I don't necessarily believe that you can only rely on hope. Also,
I
think,
agree.
I think hope is like a very powerful thing, but like in tandem with like my wife Sarah, like always calling me out on like me not taking action, like that combined with some of these things, really, really helps me move forward.
I love it. That's a really good point, and I hear that frequently with interviews. I totally agree. You can't rely 100% on hope. You got to do something about it.
Right.
Hope's a great motivator, and it gives you a good focus. It keeps you focused past today, but it's all about action. It really comes down to get off your ass and get busy. And
100%.
I've got a wife who does the same thing. She encourages me off my ass frequently and says, get with it. So good call. Okay, tell me back to a time in your life. It doesn't have to be the past year. It can be whenever you want. That it was tough. And, you really had to think through what is going on long term. What's my long-term hope to really bring me through this?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's, again, for me, it's not too long ago. I mean, I guess for me, a lot of the things are more relevant because it's just all kind of, I feel like it's so fresh.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I was getting ready to leave my job, I mean, again, I was with Sarah for 4 years, and probably for 2.5 of those, I was constantly talking about how I was going to leave my job and work for myself. And like it just kind of, I probably sound like a broken record, to be honest. And, it got to the point where she didn't even like honor my word. Like she didn't believe that I was actually ever going to take action. And to be honest, she had every right to feel that way as well. Because up until that point, I was pretty much all talk. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And, I just need these things to be in place, which I definitely needed things to be in place. But, it actually got to the point where our relationship got really, really bad because all I was doing was working. And, the thing I kept saying was, well, I'm doing this so that I can work for myself, so that I have the flexibility and freedom to, spend time with you when I want to. And, I was working my full-time job, and I was working like all through the night. And it definitely put a huge strain on our relationship. And, there was definitely moments where I remember just being like, oh my God, like I hope that I can get to the point where all of the stuff that I'm saying, I would like it to be this way, like it ends up being that way, and there's that kind of like hope of like, okay, well, when I do this, like, well, one, I hope it works. I hope that, it's not as scary as it is right now. I hope that this actually solves the problem that we may be having because of due to the relationship, because I'm just working all the time.
Yep.
But yeah, again, without her kind of in my ear frequently about like calling me out on being all talk, it would have just me constantly been saying like, oh, I hope that this is going to be this way when I do this. But again, back to that action. It's like I needed to be really pushed to take that action.
Ooh, that's good. It really is. Sarah sounds like a great person. Maybe I should be interviewing her next.
It'd be tough to get around. But, I'd give it my best.
She could talk about sharing hope with Greg.
Yeah.
That's really great. I hear that frequently. Again, back to that taking action and you having a hope that was out there long term. You're really hoping that something would work and would deliver all the things you were promising to her and yourself. But again, it comes back to action. And a lot of hope with no action isn't worth much.
That's true.
Question number 4. I know you're doing an enormous amount right now. You're speaking all over the place. You're very successful, working with a lot of clients, doing the podcast, blogs. You've got so much going on. How are you sharing hope pretty consistently out there in the world today, either professionally or in your off time? What are you doing to deliver out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I never really thought about it this way, but I host a couple of masterminds. I'm in a couple of masterminds. I do group coaching. I do coaching. All of those things that I think really help. But I think just the kind of setting an example has been really, really helpful. Just the podcast in general, people that have been following my journey through the podcast or through the blog or have seen me speak and gotten to know me through a speaking event, they've seen the journey that I've been on. And, if for those that relate to it or aspire to have something similar, I definitely think it gives hope to a lot of other people that it's possible. And I think that's why I try to I'm actually writing this blog post that is going to go live probably tomorrow or the next day of like I think there's like 35 things that I've learned in my first year working for myself. And,
Wow.
like a lot of people that I talk to are looking to work for themselves, looking to build their own business to, be able to work from wherever they want to work from and kind of live the life that they want to live while working on something that they love. I'm only like a year ahead. And, in regards to working for myself full time, I've been working on it for like 2.5 years now, but like, that's still really in the grand scheme of things, like not that much time that like, I feel like as the more that I can share my journey, the ups, the downs, the struggles, and do that in an effective way, the more that other people will feel like it's within reach. Mm-hmm. And, the more that people feel like that is obtainable for them specifically, I think the more hope is kind of created and it becomes more believable. There's a lot of really interesting studies about, even online marketers that teach people, how to make $1,000, how to earn an extra $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. There's a reason that they're doing $1,000 a month, not, hey, here's how you get to making $100,000 a year, because for so many people, that just automatically seems unobtainable. And it's like, it just doesn't seem like they're ever going to get there. But like, to get people to believe in something that actually is within reach, and show them how to do it and be transparent on like how I was able to get there, then I think that really does help kind of spread the hope really, and kind of make people believe that they're capable of doing the same thing.
Boy, I think that's so true. It's real. It's a connection. It's a human. It's somebody you can sit across the coffee table from or across the earbud from and say, how do I? He did it, and he's a real guy, and he told me it was going to be hard, and it is. But he was honest,
really hard
about the hard part, which means he's probably honest about the success part too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just like John. I mean, John's story is amazing. I mean, if you listen, hear Pat Flynn's story, I mean, all of these people are just like regular people. I mean, like Tim Page. I mean, Tim was doing his own thing, and then through a connection with John, ended up getting the opportunity to work for Lead Pages, and Tim is in love with it. It's just like the being able to, I think, be open and vulnerable, and kind of share the things that you're struggling with and that you hope to aspire to with other people, the more likely that is going to come back to you. Because if Tim had never shared kind of how he was feeling about certain things to John, like John might have never made the introduction to Clay Collins, which ended up with him getting a job at Lead Pages, which he's now in love with. So I think being vulnerable too, and obviously transparent really helps, I think, kind of humanize you, brings you down to at least a level where other people can relate to you a little bit better.
I think that's really true. I think that's something great about podcasting, and maybe it's I hate to say a generational shift in a way to isolate anybody who's in a more advanced generation, but I think our generation is really after a reality and a real touch and feel that you can get off of a person who's willing to be vulnerable. And we don't want that corporate shiny facade. And it doesn't turn us off if it's not corporate and shiny. Just be real and be part of the community. That's really cool. I love it. Number 5 is maybe some easy, simple action steps. Again, you said, what's that that hope that's attainable, not the $100,000, but the $1,000 you can make. In the sense of hope, how would you tell our listeners and tell me to start taking action on hope? What can we do today? What should I be doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things, but I would say first is read the book, The One Thing.
Okay.
By Gary Keller.
I'll put that in the show notes. Absolutely. I'll find it and track it down.
By Gary Keller.
Okay.
And it looks like this.
There's the product sample.
Right there. It's
great.
Very easy to distinguish. And this is an amazing book. I read it this year, and I can't say that I'm living it perfectly, but I'm getting there. And I think kind of one of the reasons that a lot of us probably lose hope, and more specifically me, is that you're not really clear on what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. And this book is all about kind of identifying that and then focusing on that one thing, and then how do you now spend your time in order to accomplish that thing. Mm-hmm. And I know for myself, I mean, I had a second podcast. I had like all this other stuff. In the last like 3 or 4 months, I've been like literally cutting away all of this other excess fat of stuff that's just been constant distraction, so that I can really go all in on one particular aspect of my business and get it to where I want to be. You know, within my first year of working for myself, it's like I was all over the place, and I've been trying really hard now to, or I've been working really hard now to kind of correct that by focusing on one thing. So I think until, you know, you, the listener, and you yourself, like, know exactly what you're trying to accomplish, you're going to kind of feel really, really lost, and like you're going to be hopeful for all these different things. But back to the point of like, it can't just be about hope. Like if you have that clarity on what this one thing is, then you know, and you can align yourself with other people that will help you get there. So like having mentors, having coaches and things like that, that you can clearly communicate this one goal to, will really just help bring you to that, you know, the next step closer to achieving it. So I think kind of to break that down is, one, know your one thing. Yeah. Two, is, you know, find mentors and coaches that will help guide you to getting that one thing. And really those mentors and coaches should be ideally only a few steps ahead of you, at least in my opinion. Yeah. So that it's fresh and relevant, and they can help guide you through this, because no one ever does it alone. You know, I would have never left my job if it weren't for Sarah, like, you know, super pushing me, as well as other people that were really motivating me. But even if that one thing changes, like, you need to focus on one thing and go after that one thing to even, I think, have a chance.
You know? I like it. That's great. You know, I don't think anybody's said that quite yet. That's a really great way to put it. The one thing, I'm going to put that book in the show notes and put a little more about that, because that really is a great point. You have to have a focus, and you get overwhelmed and in the mud if you don't. And then mentors.
Yeah, I was so overwhelmed this year, like trying to do too much, and also, actually, one thing that's really important, I think, that I want to share is that when you identify that one thing, make sure that you're not allowing like other people's success or what other people have, or what you hope to have, necessarily define what you think you need to be doing. Like I definitely have been heavily influenced by those around me and those that I look up to, and you know, you try to mimic their actions, which it is a great path to take, but that doesn't mean that, you know, I need to be making my money the same way that, you know, ABC person does, you know. So just as you kind of look to those mentors and coaches, and you're focused on that one thing, just make sure it's actually your one thing, and you're not picking that one thing because it's like what someone else has that you just desire to have. That's lust, you know. So really be clear on that.
Great point. I like your word on the mentors as well. It is so important to have mentors. I've had some really phenomenal ones, and I know you have, obviously, and it sounds like our mentors have all had really great mentors too.
Everybody has a mentor.
Yeah. If you don't, it takes a lot longer to get there.
Yeah.
Hey, man, these are really good points. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all the hope sharing that you're doing with us. So we always ask this on the way out. What is the thing you want to be listening to on your drive if you're trying to get the funk out of your head and get back in the game? What are you popping in the iPod, the CD player, whatever you're using?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm a huge like hip hop R&B fan, so like I would need something upbeat. I would probably like some Biggie or like Tupac or something. Would probably, like, the upbeat songs.
Absolutely.
Would kind of get me going. I mean, I'm a huge fan of music, so yeah. But I mean, if I'm kind of down, like, I definitely need to listen to something that's like kind of gets me going.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Those are good selections too. All right, so if you're going to hear from somebody about hope, who would it be? Who would you want to hear from? If I was going to ask the same questions of anybody in the world, you pick them.
Oof.
I'm interviewing 1,000 people. It's going to take me 3 or 4 years, so sky's the limit on this.
Who would I want to hear about hope from? I actually want to hear about it. I don't know if you've interviewed this person already, but Grant Baldwin.
Grant Baldwin. I've not.
He's actually a very good friend of mine. He's a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And he speaks to kind of the youth generation,
Really?
younger generation. And he actually just recently, I found a video of him. I was like, I would love, I talked to him, I know him personally, but I've never seen him speak on stage, so I saw a highlight reel.
Yeah.
And he's just a really inspiring dude, and he's out there engaging with younger people, giving them hope, giving them motivation. So I'd actually be really interested to hear kind of where some of his hope came from, because I've never really talked about that with him.
That's great. Well, I think we should do that. I'll reach out to him. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Greg, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
man.
your time today, and I appreciate you sharing some really insightful stuff. We're going to put all these things in the show notes, transcripts, any links to your website, communication. How can we find you if somebody wants to reach out and be part of what you're doing?
Yeah. So, from a mobile perspective, I'm at mobilemixed.com. But I think a little bit more relevant for this audience is my personal site, greghickman.me, which I'm kind of reinvigorating at the moment. But you'll find plenty of interviews from my previous podcast called Leaving Corporate.
Yeah.
And I interviewed entrepreneurs to figure out how they made that transition into working for themselves. And, a lot of them came from, really tough situations and were able to, now go on to accomplish some amazing things. John Lee Dumas was on there, Amy Porterfield, a lot of really inspiring people. So if you're looking for that, there's plenty of content at greghickman.me as well for that.
Perfect. And Twitter, Facebook?
Twitter at GJ Hickman.
Great. Okay. Man, I've got your website pulled up right now. It's
Cool.
fantastic, and there's a lot of ways to connect to you on there and a lot of information about you. So thanks for your time, Greg. And
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Look forward to talking again soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, man. Hey, great job.
Cool.
Fantastic job. All right, give me a few audio clips. I'm Greg Hickman, and I share hope.
I'm Greg Hickman, and I share hope.
Now, the fellow you just mentioned that you'd want to hear from.
Yeah, I can introduce you to him.
Yeah, why don't you?
Grant Baldwin.
Hit me up with an email on that. That'd be awesome. And also do a little intro for him real quick. I'm Greg Hickman, and this is I Share Hope, and you're about to hear from. Go for it.
Sure. I'm Greg Hickman, and I share hope, and you're about to listen to Grant Baldwin.
Perfect. And that's great. Denver, Colorado. I wish I was there.
Yeah. Where are you at?
Memphis.
Memphis.
Yeah, it's a little cloudy and drizzly and 50, and that's what it'll be for the next 4 months.
Where's Grant's in that area?
Is he really? I've never heard it. I can't believe I hadn't heard of the guy. So is he I love the guys who work with youth because, man, that's a generation who, man, they need it.
Where the hell is Grant?
Is he here in town, in Memphis?
I know he's...
Baldwin?
He's Springfield, Missouri.
It's not too far away. I'm going to be in Springfield right after Christmas for a few days.
Yeah, check out grantbaldwin.com. You'll...
Right. I will. Well, yeah, shoot an email to
yeah, well, I'll introduce
him
you to
and me.
him.
That'd be really cool. I appreciate it. And I'll also reach out to the fellow who wrote that book. Do you ever reach for the guy who wrote the one book?
Oh, no, I never reached out to him.
I'll get him.
He's a big-time guy.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. You ski a
All
lot?
right, man.
You do a lot of snowboarding skiing?
I did when I first moved out here. The last few years, I haven't really, and this year I've actually been struggling, dealing with a back problem, but now I'm kind of bouncing back over that. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to get some turns in this season.
Good luck. I'm in Alaska next week doing a little skiing. I can't wait.
Oh, shit. That'll be awesome.
Long flight, but it's worth it. All right, my friend.
All right, man.
Thank
Take
you
it
for
easy.
your time. I'll let you know when we launch this thing and send you all the links, et cetera, and we'll do a good job. Thanks, bud. Bye-bye.
All right. Sounds good, man. Take it easy. All right. Bye.
You've just listened to I Share Hope. If you're ready to make a change, head to our website at isharehope.com and claim your free copy of the top 10 actions of hope from world leaders to use hope in your own life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.